Hello and welcome to Cinema1one podcast. My name is Jack Connell and today I'm joined with Christian Rudd and Mark Waldridge.
Hello. Yes, you got my last name right. Good job.
Yes. I'm coming back, boys and girls.
It's back on.
Hello. The Cinema1one podcast is back. This will be like part 2 of the previous one. Hopefully we get the first one out first. Yes, my name is Mark Waldridge and I'm here with Christian Rudd.
Hi.
People need to know your voice.
Hi, my name's Christian Rudd.
And Jack Connell.
Ciao, bello.
So we're back with this one, and you might be wondering why we're doing this. Christopher Nolan. Where do we begin?
The man, the myth, the legend.
Sir
Christopher Nolan. He should be knighted.
Why is he
we
not
think he
knighted?
has, but
Yeah.
secretly.
Oh,
so
surely.
humble.
Surely there's a
It's
theory
under the
about that.
How, do you reckon?
For sure.
Surely.
He must be.
Well, he's British, isn't he? Yeah. Or like he's English, isn't he? Let's just give people context. I know some people who aren't filmmakers listen to my podcast. Christopher Nolan is a writer and director. He has made films like his first film was Following. If I can do it all in order, it was Following, his first film. Then we got, I believe, Memento, and then Insomnia.
Yeah.
Memento and then Insomnia. Right after that was The Prestige. It was Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Then that gave him funding for The Prestige, which then made The Dark Knight. Right after that was 28, and then Inception.
No, sorry,
Then his big one,
Inception,
Inception, which then after that was The Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises, and then Interstellar. Another big one, then a big gap, and then Dunkirk.
And
Yeah.
now.
And now we have a big one coming out next year in 2020, July, Tenet. And we are so excited for that.
way too excited.
It's probably worth saying that we are.
Oh, damn, it didn't work. And you guys might be wondering what the hell that was. I have the brand new Rodecaster Pro, and on here I have 8 different effects I can use.
And for those of you that missed that was the Rodecaster Pro.
Yes, the Rodecaster Pro.
Hey, if Rode wants to sponsor this podcast, they
That would be great.
Yeah,
Rode,
Rode.
please sponsor the
Rode
podcast.
makes the best audio equipment ever.
Rode
Make the best audio equipment in just filmmaking and everything general.
I think
and they're Australian.
And they're
everything we're
Australian.
using right now, besides the headphones, which you can't see because it's not Rode, but everything else is Rode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
the wine is Rode.
In the road, wide as road. Even that beer can there is road as well.
It's clearly not, but
Anyway, boys,
Shut up,
I'm
Christian.
sorry, we have
All right,
to bring it back on topic.
All right, bring it back to Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
I don't know where to begin. So we've seen most of his films. I know you and Jack and I have seen all of his films except for Following
And
and
I haven't
Insomnia.
seen
You haven't seen
Insomnia.
Insomnia, and you haven't seen the Dark Knight trilogy.
yeah, I know it's a
Alright.
my secret. I haven't
Before
seen the
you
Dark
hit that
Knight.
dislike button,
Yeah, before you hit that dislike
he
button.
has not seen the Dark Knight
Sorry,
trilogy.
guys.
Yeah, don't worry. We've roasted him enough about it.
I might be watching it tonight.
We're probably watching
we're
the
definitely
Dark
watching
Knight tonight or
Knight
something.
afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know where to begin. What's your favorite Christopher Nolan film?
I really like Inception.
Yeah, same.
I think that's like the generic answer. It's like, oh yeah, Inception. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
However, I do really like Memento just because it's so interesting and so different from what I
Iconic?
guess it is. It's iconic.
Very
yeah.
iconic.
It's a very trippy film, I guess, is kind of the word. Like
Dude.
very hard to follow, but once it's got so much rewatch value, which is all of his films.
fair.
Really.
Exactly. All of his films have rewatch value.
Yeah, like I think Christian's right. Inception, I mean, is one of the only Nolan films. Was one of the first films I bought on Blu-ray, and that film got me through Year 12 media. So shout out Chris if you're ever watching this for any reason. Thank you.
Somehow
Thank you.
Christopher Nolan's watching the Cinema1one podcast.
Take that film, man. I studied that. I watched documentaries on it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But The Prestige, I
So good.
remember
Prestige
watching
is
The
really good,
Prestige
yeah.
for the first time and being like, holy shit.
Before anyone else continues, there will be spoilers for Christopher Nolan's films. We will probably not spoil the Dark Knight trilogy because we might be watching it tonight, and Chris hasn't seen it himself. Christian hasn't seen it himself. My God,
If
I'm confused.
anything, we'll be talking about The Dark Knight Rises and specifically the character of Alfred, which I recently spoke about multiple times at uni. The character of Alfred lends itself to a very good conversation.
Yeah.
Again,
Michael Caine,
spoilers.
the legend.
Yeah, he's like
Like Nolan says, Michael Caine is his lucky charm.
Lucky
Every
charm,
film he's
yeah.
been in is fucking incredible. Even the ones he's not in still. But
And my lecturer very clearly pointed out Alfred is the audience, or it is like our perspective into the world of Batman in the Dark
true.
Knight
Yeah.
trilogy.
Not that
Like, you look
I
at his
actually
arc.
can't comment on that because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He starts
But
off as
I'll
like
take your word
it's just great. Just
so good. So what would you say your favorite film from Nolan?
Well, I Inception.
Inception, yeah.
I also love The Prestige.
Okay.
And I am a Dunkirk fan.
Yeah, Dunkirk's incredible.
I do really like Interstellar.
Yeah, Interstellar's
Yeah,
good.
Interstellar.
If Oscar was here,
Rodeo
I would do agree a bit with Oscar. Like the story isn't that. Interstellar is one of his weakest films, but still incredible.
The question is, what has the best soundtrack?
Yes.
Because I think
Interstellar? Yeah.
Interstellar would get that, right?
Yeah, I love the Dark Knight soundtrack
Yeah,
by Hans
true.
Zimmer and James Newton Howard.
I have heard that.
Yeah, it's so good. Interstellar, great. The only thing with Interstellar is that if you look at the whole soundtrack on Spotify, there's like 40 songs, but only like 5 of them are really good ones, I would say. Inception has a fucking great kind of thing. You got Time, you've got Dream Within Dreams, you've got Mubasa as well, kind of thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Like, they're great, but they're not. They're like Hans. That's
Hans
Nolan's
work, yeah.
composers.
Yeah.
If you're looking at just Nolan, what was the first Nolan film? If you think hard, what was the first film that you saw of his? And then what was the first film that went, that man's a genius?
That's a good point.
For me, it was Inception. I watched Inception. My mate Jordan, we walk home all the time from, shout out to Jordan. We walk home from school all the time before my license. And he was like, dude, have you seen Inception? I was like, no, I haven't. And he's just like, it's like dreams within dreams. It's so trippy and so cool. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
You watched that before Batman?
No, I had seen Batman already.
Okay, so Batman was the first Nolan film you saw?
Actually, I think it was. But I wasn't into filmmaking then.
Yeah, but then Inception was the first one that made you go.
Yeah, so I saw Inception and I was just like, this is filmmaking. Like, this is filmmaking. That's what turned me into this filmmaking person. And then like year 10 is when I started getting into it. And yeah, that's why I love Inception so much. Not only is it a great film, it's also the film that turned me into this filmmaker. I think that's why I love it so much. But yeah, I'd watched a Dark Knight. I think it was probably just Dark Knight. I feel like I have no idea now.
Most people, except for Mr. Rudd of my right, like watched the Dark Knight trilogy and then watched another film that was like, this is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Like for me, I subconsciously had watched the Dark Knight trilogy, and then I think either The Prestige or Inception, either one of those two. I cannot remember what order.
Yeah.
But that was when it was like, that was an awakening. That was the Christopher Nolan awakening for me. But it'd be really interesting for Mr. Rudd over here, because you subconsciously didn't watch the Dark Knight trilogy, like most children in our generation.
I wasn't a huge Batman fan as a kid. So
Right.
it's But I
fine.
watched the first film I ever watched of Nolan's was Inception. I knew it was Christopher Nolan because I was like, oh, who directed that? That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was Christopher Nolan. And then in media, we studied Christopher Nolan again. And as for art films, right, in year 12. And we watched Memento. And I saw the things come. I was like, oh,
That's the same
Yeah,
thing.
same with me as well.
I was like,
Memento was the awakening.
but as the credits go in, I was like, Christopher Nolan directed this. Christopher Nolan. Oh, he did Inception.
Wait a minute.
This is Christopher Nolan stuff? Like, really? Like,
Yeah.
it's completely different, but it's...
What I did, like I saw Inception, I seen the Dark Knight trilogy, I'd seen splotches of these films, and then Dunkirk was announced, and I was like, okay, I'm doing a marathon. And I didn't know you guys then, but on my Snapchat, I was doing a Christopher Nolan marathon every day. Was every week, like every second or third day, I would watch every one of Nolan's film, except for following in order. I'll do Memento, then Insomnia, and then Batman Begins. I'll go along like that kind of thing. And on my Snapchat, I would just keep myself updated and keep everyone updated what I was doing. And yeah, I would finish off with Interstellar, and then the next day I would watch Dunkirk with Dad, kind of thing.
Yeah, nice.
And that's how I got through it all, kind of thing. That's why I love Christopher Nolan, because I just seen all his films back to back to back. And I think it was nuts, but so worth it.
Oh, it's unreal, and he is just an absolute machine. Like, people are saying he's probably the biggest director in Hollywood right now. And there's
Tenet is the highest budgeted original film, isn't it?
highest independently financed
That's
film.
it, yeah.
So, okay, this is a great breakdown, because no one knows what that means.
No.
But personally, what I think it is for those of you who don't know, is that Christopher Nolan supposedly took a decreased director's wage for the production of Dunkirk, which I think was budgeted at $90 or $100 million.
Yeah.
And he struck up an arrangement with Warner Brothers to get 20% of the box office earnings of Dunkirk, as you do if you're quite a large director releasing a mainstream movie, quote in quotations to those who aren't watching. And obviously Dunkirk made like $550 million. Therefore, 20% of that is $120 million. So I remember this specifically because I remember in media, I was Googling his net worth, which was $50 million before the release of Dunkirk. And because I'd write about it in my essays in year 12. Again, shout out Chris Nolan. Thank you for getting me through year 12. And then all of a sudden one day I hit refresh and it goes from 50 to 130 million dollars. I'm like,
wow,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the deal he had with Warner Brothers. So the rumor is that Tenet is 225. It started off at 250 and it's come down to like 225.
Yeah.
As Mark
$225 million, by the way.
As Mark said, independently financed.
That's insane.
So what?
And The Dark Knight Rises is his most at only 260 mil.
Yeah, so Dark Knight is more.
But Dark Knight Rises isn't an independent film. It's based off a comic.
Yeah. So therefore, it has that calling card of like it's a tempo piece. Like you have Batman. Batman's naturally going to bring in the crowd, and it's the end of it's a conclusion of a trilogy, which the previous film just made $1 billion and was nominated for X amount of Oscars.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're going to have people
backing it
to see this one. So what we thought, what I believe, is that with Tenet, that $120 million payout he got via the box office, realistically, 20 million of that you could easily live off for the rest of your life. Like Nolan, mortgage gone, new house done. That's like that
family
will
life done
you
kind of thing.
for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That leaves you $100 million to do whatever the hell you want with that film.
Yeah.
Now,
But
coming off Dunkirk, Nolan, what's he going to do next? To save the studio money, he can go, can I get like $150, $125 million, the average blockbuster wage for a blockbuster film. Then he adds his $100 million, which isn't included in his like living expense. That brings you to the $225 million. That opens the world to so much possibility.
Yeah.
Like Inception was like 150,
yeah.
like 140, $150 million budget.
Yeah.
This next film is almost $100 million more.
It's insane.
Like, and just, I remember I was watching a video at uni and they were like, is Warner Brothers spending too much money on Tenet? I'm like,
Yeah, I saw
you're
that.
an idiot.
It's Chris Nolan. Everyone has
there's no
faith
way,
in Chris.
Warner Brothers will do it.
Nolan we
But there's
trust.
no
Yeah.
way there's no way Warner Brothers is going to be funding the entire thing. The reason people are saying it's the highest independent film, guarantee you he puts some of that Dunkirk profit into the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
It's insane. And I don't know where to start. Like, he's a god. Nolan's he's just insane. And I know, like, doing research on him, he's studied a lot of English and literature. He's really good at fucking English, so that's why he can write screenplays. So he knows what he's doing.
And like mythology.
Yeah, mythology and all that stuff.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Look, it's just the guy's incredible. The guy's unstoppable, and I want to get some backstory of just Tenet, because we know Interstellar took like 8 years to write the screenplay. We know that, and some other films as well. Tenet, how long has this been for? I don't know, but
We can assume probably more than 5 years though.
probably but we have no idea what it's about either.
Yeah, that's true. Which is good. Which
Which we're happy about. Like I know you're interested to see more about it. Chris and I, we definitely don't want to see any more.
It's going to have some sort of time manipulation for sure.
Yeah, everything about Nolan's films is about time.
Yeah.
Even the Dark Knight films, The Dark Knight Rises, when Batman has to catch these thugs, won't say much more. But from he has to catch these thugs before this timer goes to 100%.
Yeah.
And from 60%, it says 8 minutes remaining. From that point to when Batman catches them, it's pretty much exactly 8 minutes. Nolan and editor Lee Smith pretty much paced the film exactly how it was put into perspective and physics.
it's like time and like physics and space,
exactly.
I guess kind of like space is in physical space though.
Physical space, which is nuts. I'm just looking at IMDb now. Nolan, give me a second. Where's the budget? Trivia, goofs, yada yada yada.
You just Google budget for whatever Nolan film, it will bring it up.
Yeah.
Standardly.
What for Tenet?
In
or his other films.
Dunkirk. Dunkirk was $100 million.
Okay, 100.
100 mil. And then I think you got Tenet.
That's a crazy big budget.
The reports are saying 225.
And then estimated for Tenet, according to IMDb, just scrolling down too far, we have wherever it is. Can you tell me? Are you going to tell me? Or do I have to look it up? Please don't tell me to
It
look
wouldn't be
it up.
confirmed. It's just rumored.
Maybe. God damn it. Oh, well. But yeah, I look at the cast here. Elizabeth Debicki, Robert Pattinson, Aaron Taylor-Johnson as well.
Yeah, I've completely forgot
Michael
about that.
Caine, John David Washington
Who
too.
plays the lead.
Hamish Patel's in it too.
Yeah, that was the recent cast. Like 3 days ago, they announced Hamish Patel from
Really?
yesterday.
Have they said what camera they're using or like what technical?
I haven't looked at here. I
It
probably
would
won't
be
say much.
A combination of 65 and IMAX.
I would be IMAX, yeah. Nolan loves his IMAX.
He's like the pioneer of the IMAX camera.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's with the one keeping it alive.
Yeah, the one who started it and the one who,
225 million USD Tenet, which is insane.
That is insane.
Oh, here we go. The whole budget. So Interstellar, 165 million.
Yeah.
Memento, 9 million.
Wow.
Inception, 160 mil. Insomnia, 46 million.
Yeah.
Prestige, 40 million.
Yeah.
Following $6,000.
Really?
6,000 USD.
Independently
Wow.
financed.
Yeah. So that's only just double you guys from Powerless, actually.
That's crazy.
You did 3,000. Nolan did following in 6,000.
He
The
shot
Dark
on
Knight.
weekends as well.
We should. Sorry.
He shot on weekends.
Yeah, he only
as well.
shot on weekends.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Dark Knight, 185 mil.
That's big.
And that's what I can only see at the moment. But God, it's insane. I don't want to speculate too much about Tenet because I know we don't want to say too much and then get stuff right or wrong. We've talked about our favorite films. Do we have? We haven't seen all these films, so I can't say any least best. We've also talked about the scores as well. He works with Hans Zimmer a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else is there to say about Nolan? Keep going, Jack.
We'll find something.
I guess the amount of effort he puts into going above and beyond. Especially with IMAX, because it's inconvenient at best to shoot on IMAX, but it looks amazing.
Exactly. Well, I know with film you can't really look over the footage. It's not like digital where you can just play back stuff. For film, you can't really do that. So you got to get the shot and hopefully you get it, which I learnt from Corridor Digital when they did the reaction.
Yeah.
They go Stuntman reacts to films, and it was a Dark Knight Rises scene when Batman and Catwoman are beating up thugs. And some of the thugs in the background.
On the rooftop?
On the rooftop.
Yeah.
Some of the thugs were actually throwing themselves back because they messed up their motion or something. And the guy said that because Nolan shoots on film, you can't actually look over what you've done. And they
can't play back.
You can't play back. So they have to hope that they got the fucking shot and then just move on.
And that's crazy. I mean, that's the one.
I only didn't notice it till I saw that, of course. But it has a good point as well. There's some flaws when it comes to films and IMAX, but there can be some real benefits.
So I was watching the resolution, the physical resolution difference between the camera they use for Star Wars, which was, I think, it's a bit smaller than Micro Four Thirds, which is pretty small.
Yeah.
And IMAX is 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The difference between those films. I never saw Dunkirk in cinemas on IMAX, but from what I've seen, it just has that really nice look. I don't know the actual resolution of because the resolution of film
And Hoyt van Hoytema, the DOP, is back again.
Yeah. Which is
his
awesome.
new power. He's back with for Tenet as well because I'm pretty sure he likes film.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Hoyt.
Yeah.
For a second.
Hoyt van Hoytema, by the way, for the audience, he is a director of photography who is also known as cinematographer. They work the camera for the film.
They have the creative look of the film.
Creative look of the film. And he has worked with Nolan for, I think it was Interstellar and Dunkirk. And so far, he's also working now with Nolan for in Tenet.
And before that, he had Wally Pfister.
And he had Wally Pfister as well,
Departed Nolan's films to do his own spin-off film.
Yeah.
Or his own film, which when reviewed, everyone compared it to Nolan. And so...
Oh, shit, really?
Ripperoni.
I had no idea.
Before we go into Hoyt, can you guys remind... I'm going to forget. I already forgot, and I just remembered it. Can we talk about Nolan's James Bond film... with Harry Styles.
Right.
We'll come back to that.
That's right. Yeah, I remember it still was mentioned. I didn't know Harry Styles, but I do remember
At least
007.
it was the editor. The editor announced it.
Lee Smith.
Is that actually is that confirmed or is that
not confirmed? Not
Okay.
confirmed. But we'll
Okay.
talk about that afterwards.
Yeah. So Hoyt is a DOP with Christopher Nolan. Sorry. What's with him?
he has a beautiful beard? Just saying.
He's
He
a
does-
he's
he
a beautiful
does.
guy. He's a beautiful man.
So Dunkirk, he re-revolutionized the IMAX camera. Like there's like they shot obviously mostly, or they shot everywhere for that, like sound stages, water tanks, on location in the street. But there's like photos and videos. If you watch the behind the scenes in the Blu-ray of Dunkirk,
Yeah.
of them all on the boat, when Nolan's like, look, we went skeleton crew essentially. We took like 7 crew max onto the boat. Everyone else was on like a safety boat. He, Hoyt, there's 2 sound guys, and like just a gaffer went onto the boat.
Yeah, the
And
main
it's just
one.
them. He just handheld. He puts the IMAX camera on a shoulder rig, and like
And IMAX cameras weigh a lot. They're
Yeah, they're
not light.
huge.
They're huge.
35%, 40% of the
That's
film.
yeah. And he's
shoulder
holding
rigged
it.
The IMAX camera. I was like, what?
What the hell? This thing's massive, and he's just shoulder rigging it.
And you
Like,
watch
what the
them-
hell?
Just consider the IMAX camera, right? It's 70 millimeter by whatever, I can't remember. But how big 70 millimeter is, and that's
Yeah.
one
Huge.
frame. Think about how like to get an actual.
Huge.
That's crazy. It's so
It's insane.
Yeah.
And then the stuff where they put it in the plans and on the plans, like obviously
Yeah.
that stuff all that looks great because we don't normally get to see that. But it's not Nolan, but has
Doing some research, yeah.
Anyone watched the trailer for Top Gun 2?
Yes.
There's like
Yeah.
3 shots in that film, 4, but the 3 shots where they've mounted the camera onto the fighter jet.
Yeah, that's
when Tom Cruise is on it.
that's like inspired
They are stunning.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me a little bit of Dunkirk, but it's the
Yeah.
whole practical camera usage in intense action that is, I think I'm so glad it's still going because
Yeah.
that's why we want to make films. Like
that's
those
also
shots.
like also the I guess technically no one doesn't use VFX. Or
Yeah,
he
much
does,
at all,
but
yeah.
he doesn't. He only uses it to enhance,
Yeah,
not to actually
exactly.
make
Similar to
stuff.
David
nailed
Fincher
it.
as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
The cool thing about that though is that like for the VFX for Interstellar, they actually made their own algorithms. I think I learned this from Corridor Digital. They made their own algorithms and stuff to actually make the black hole. They
Yeah,
use
that's
actual
insane.
mathematics. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it was like if we go back to Inception real quick, and this
Yeah.
is what I learned when I did all the study for Year 12 media. Excuse me, the extent that they went to with the practical effects. Like there's 7 examples or so. Like let's start with when he's talking to Ellen Page's character
Yeah.
in Paris, and they're in that shop.
Draw me a map.
And, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's slightly after that, and he's like, "All right, in a dream, like you don't. The idea is that the dreamer isn't aware of what's going on, but how did you get here?" And it's that realization for the audience and for her that they're in a dream, and then everyone starts to look at them, and it's like, "Yeah, the world around you will combust," and then all the the explosion,
slow-mo
of slow motion,
explosions.
Yeah.
and like how they shot that, just in itself,
Like
where-
that air cannon shooting
Yeah,
and it
and-
enhanced
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's-
and Nolan's like, I want my actors there, so they've actually got DiCaprio and Ellen Page on set as they fire out these things
Yeah.
around them.
Yeah,
and
and that film, there's VFX in that shot, isn't there?
yeah,
Yeah,
there
heaps,
is,
yeah.
But that
To
it's
enhance, like you
aged
said.
really well.
It has, yeah.
Consider what 2010 or
Just like
2009?
sandwiching the whole
2010.
world as well. It was
2010.
so cool.
Like-
I was just doing some research on the IMAX camera.
Yeah.
Fully loaded IMAX camera. Let's say if you've stocked it completely up
Yeah.
with the whole reel of film, weighs 600 pounds,
What?
which is roughly 272 kilograms.
Are you serious?
And it says here it needs a forklift to move it.
How do you shoulder rig that?
So,
should read that.
but then if you look at just the average weight, it's 113 kilograms.
So that guy's a Viking. He's
pretty
a,
much.
he-
So
he-
Hoyt van Hoytema is a Viking.
I mean, he's a big dude.
So 100
He's a big guy.
100.
Look up Hoyt van Hoytema, director of photography.
So you said 130 kilos?
113
Look at
kilograms.
the behind the scenes
13
photo.
kilograms.
He's clearly
That's-
holding the IMAX camera
so
with
that's-
the top over him.
That's 10-ish. 10 kilogram. No, is that right? My math is off.
I don't know, Steve's maths.
I don't know. That's
10
damn
what,
heavy.
sorry?
How,
It's very
is that 10,
heavy.
10 kilogram
Yes, yeah, it
weight?
is. Yeah, just over.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I will never be that strong. I'm not
No.
even going to bother.
The thing is, like, it's just like how much does the IMAX weigh? The IMAX like 3D camera weighs 113.
3D.
3D.
true.
Like the 70 mil, I can't see any weight.
That's
but
the one that they used for Dunkirk. They had 70,
How do you-
and then
Yeah.
they intercut that with the 65
How
mil.
do you even? That's like
but then like fully loaded 70 mil
That's
is
insane.
270
That's
kilograms.
that's.
I don't know how you
How
do
do you
that.
You're not
put
putting
that
that
on
on
a
a
tripod?
you're not putting that on a gimbal.
No.
You're not putting that on a gimbal.
No Steadicam either.
Yeah.
But then again, now you say that, he never does gimbals.
No,
Nolan.
No,
yeah.
he doesn't, does he?
yeah.
No, yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of the look of gimbals anyway.
No, it's just too just
Yeah.
too
It feels-
smooth.
It feels too
It's
smooth.
fair.
Yeah.
It feels
it's got its
just
own
off.
thing.
It
Yeah,
does.
I prefer sliders or I mean the
Just
gimbals
lockdown
are super
stuff.
convenient. They're super.
Oh yeah,
convenient.
definitely for
They have a
small
look.
stuff. You don't use it too much. You
Yeah.
can use it at the right times.
Yeah.
And horror films are really good.
Yeah.
The horror genre is
Yeah.
really good for gimbals.
How do you get an IMAX camera on a helicopter though? Because they
They
have
did
that-
that. They did that for the Dark Knight.
Well,
Well,
and
it's on-
Interstellar as
it's on
well.
the front.
Interstellar, yeah. And they announced at the front kind of thing. But
Well, I mean, I know for Mission Impossible Fallout, they built their own helicopters. So
Yeah.
the cockpit was
Really?
enough. Yeah, so their cockpit, you could see if you put the camera in the back behind Tom Cruise. The cockpit was like mostly see through, so you could see everything.
that's right. Yeah, you
and so
could.
they had to build their own like not even a helicopter rig, but they had to build their own helicopter
Yeah.
in order to get the shots they
That's
wanted.
crazy.
Insane.
Thank you,
The,
Tom
the
Cruise.
lengths that
And
you go.
Hoyt as well crafted his own lens as well for Dunkirk.
Really? Yeah,
So it could bounce because you couldn't put
Oh yeah,
you,
inside
you
the-
couldn't
yeah.
inside the actual so you
Yeah.
can see their faces. You couldn't put this fuck off IMAX
Yeah,
camera
yeah,
right
it's
next
gonna-
to them. It had to bounce off a mirror
I
to
imagine-
then get inside
I
the
imagine
camera, inside the thing.
113 kilograms is going to imbalance the plane. a bit.
Exactly, that small thing as
Yeah,
well.
and there's this great photo where like no one's like, yeah, I don't do visual effects, and that they're on a cliff in England, and they've got Tom Hardy in this like micro fragment of a fighter
That's
jet
right, yeah.
on a rig, and there's like the cameras in front of him,
And him just
He's
turning
and
it.
then Nolan's turning the rig. He doesn't even want to see the shot.
It's the
He's just
same
like,
with
I want to replicate it.
Same with Interstellar when they have to move the spaceship and
Yeah.
Nolan's legit just doing it himself. Kind of thing. Like, this guy is so practical. I love him.
What's that Batman? The last Batman film? I can't
Dark
remember.
Knight
Is
Rises.
that right? Yeah. So the scene in the plane at the very is it the very start?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
good.
I've seen the
That
behind
was-
the scenes for that.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, didn't they just like shoot like bare feet off the ground or something, but then just no.
No,
It was legit,
it's
yeah.
intercut, like half of it's shot in the air.
Yeah.
And then part of it is one part of it is a model.
Yeah,
When
that's
the
it.
tail blows out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then they just
I've seen that
awesome
scene. I have
special
seen
effects
that
it.
scene. It looks awesome. It's
So cool.
Well
It's
done.
such a good scene.
Yeah.
That's great. Scene is like,
Yeah.
what if he's already here? yeah, it's like, what do you know about Bane?
And nobody cared who I was, so I put
put
on
on
the
the
mask.
Nobody cared who I was. Like, I need to.
Yeah, it's so good.
Darkness is your ally.
Love Tom Hardy.
You merely adopt the dark. I was born in it.
Yeah,
it's
molded
great.
by it. Oh,
Nah,
it's so
it's
good.
Awesome. But before we lose it, yeah, there was a before anyone knew, or before the general public knew about Tenet, the rumor was, and Nolan's openly admitted it, that he would love to do a James Bond.
Yeah.
So this lent itself to some great discussions. What would Nolan's twist be on like a traditional James Bond film? And
Inception
I'm sure I've
James
spoken
Bond.
about you. Yeah, but we thought the young Bond.
Yeah.
Like 24, 25, like the young Bond.
The young Bond,
and
not
then
the
his
old.
editor came out, who edited Dunkirk, was like,
Lee Smith, he is a Australian editor from Sydney,
oh,
actually.
really? He's a frequent
He's
collaborator as well.
Very frequent collaborator. He's Australian and won an Oscar for best editing for Dunkirk. He's my favorite editor.
That's awesome.
Mm.
He around this time, the press were sort of reporting on the Harry Styles was going to be the next James Bond.
Yeah.
And that Nolan would be doing a James Bond film. So obviously, fan of Harry Styles in general, fan of his performance in Dunkirk, a worshipper of Sir Christopher Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is brilliant. This is Nolan's twist. Like, can you imagine
young James Bond.
Bond played by Harry Styles,
Yeah, like, yeah.
done by Christopher Nolan, all his like intricacies, and his editor came out and said Harry Styles would play a great James Bond. Nothing is confirmed. Nolan is like, I'm sure it would be great, but it's not confirmed. And now Tenet is out. International spy espionage. This is Nolan's Bond, but it's not Bond.
Yeah.
And it's got something to do with time.
Yeah.
Again.
it's gonna be.
I know every film of Nolan's is about time. Insomnia, not so much. I know you haven't seen
I
it.
haven't
It's
seen
not much about time, but
You said it was really good, right?
really good. It's,
Yeah.
it's highly underrated.
Is the only film Nolan hasn't written.
No, yeah, it's
really?
not, he hasn't written either. That's why. That's
a
why no one
remake.
really gives him much credit for it. Even though he's directed
Yeah.
it, there's nothing else he's done, but it's still phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's not much about time, of course, and all that, but it's the perfect crime film
Yeah.
that I would love to
awesome.
make.
Yeah.
And it's an awesome film and very symbolic, like Nolan or like all these films. Kind of, they mean a lot. There's more to it when you watch it once than a second time than the third time.
I have an interesting point here. So Nolan would be at least our generation. It's kind of like our generation's Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg's, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what, the 70s, 80s, and I guess the 90s as well. Steven Spielberg was like the big director.
Yeah,
He
Jaws
was
and like Jurassic Park.
More
E.T..
The big,
E.T..
the big
He-
blockbuster director.
He created
The blockbuster.
blockbuster,
Yeah,
pretty
75
much.
Jaws.
Like-
Yeah.
$50 million.
Yeah, I think Nolan's like the equivalent of that for our generation, and I think
But-
it'll
5 times 50 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Kind
insane.
of 225 mil.
But with
Yeah.
inflation.
yeah, that's true. But like, yeah, I guess how much stuff has Spielberg written? Like, did he do a lot of
He's
writing?
written
did,
much.
like,
he
his
produces and
early
directs
ones.
a lot.
Yeah.
The early ones, but nothing since.
Because like since
think.
like the 90s, this auteur kind of director writer
Yeah.
has become a
Tarantino.
huge
Tarantino,
Tarantino,
Nolan.
Fincher.
Fincher's a big one.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Fincher's
nice.
a big one.
I guess
There's another auteur.
Sorkin in a way
Edgar
with his
Wright?
dialogue.
Yeah, like even
Edgar
auto
Wright.
writers as well. Coen Brothers.
Yeah,
Coen Brothers.
Coen Brothers.
yeah.
that's a big
Yeah.
one.
So many authors. That's the big talk as well. Is Michael Bay an auto director?
I think he
Ooh,
is.
I think he is.
I think
Yeah,
he is.
actually-
Michael Bay
At
has a
first, I said no, but now more I think about it, I go probably is.
Michael Bay has a style.
He
and-
does have a style.
I can't really remember this, but did he direct Dora the Explorer?
No, he didn't.
No,
I
it
thought
was
he did.
announced that he was going to produce it,
Produced it, okay.
and then he just didn't.
Yeah.
And I think he was working on his own Transformers movie.
Shame.
It is a shame. It is a real shame.
Love the Dora the Explorer. movie.
I mean, he's got good reviews right now. So
Yeah, that's insane.
It's,
yeah,
it's just a family film, I guess. So I'm
You know,
not interested, but I
Nolan.
respect that kind of thing. Nolan, Dora the Explorer.
Messes with time.
I still go watch it. Dora back in time.
The backpack is infinite,
No, I'd still go watch it.
and you create a black hole when you go in.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching. This is a good little side note. I remember watching Interstellar. I remember rewatching Interstellar with a group of friends one night, and one of the people we were watching it was studying engineering, and she, not a Nolan supporter, or as in like wasn't on board as much as we were, like not that into films, and it gets them one of Michael Caine's. There's a little bit of exposition explaining sciencey.
Yeah,
sort of
you've got to do
lingo.
that.
That's kind of with a lot of his films.
Yeah,
and
in Inception, you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Oh yeah, no, this is
Yeah,
Interstellar. Sorry.
but no,
Yeah.
but both those.
Oh,
films.
But like
Oh,
most of
definitely.
these films,
Yeah,
you
you
have to
need them.
explain stuff.
Yeah, you're right. And they're walking through. It's when the base is the space station, and they explain it because like this theory, this reason. She goes, "I get that." I'm like, "The fuck? What?" She's like,
Yeah.
I get that principle. I'm studying engineering. I get that. And that was the first time I was like, "Yo,
That's sick.
the reach on this film
Yeah.
is awesome. I love that."
Wow,
I love
because
it how, like,
Interstellar, they actually got a real physicist,
they-
astrophysicist.
consultants.
Yeah, they put in for the visual effects. They put in numbers, not visual effects, into the
insane.
That's what I was
computer
talking about, yeah.
to make the black hole.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
insane.
Christian was saying that. Yeah,
Yeah, like
And then like real life, the black hole would be so intense it would actually warp itself over. That's why you get this almost 90-degree black hole.
Yeah.
because
and
the
they
gravity is so
actually-
intense.
They actually studied. I believe they actually learned stuff from studying this film. Like the actual, like they didn't know some of this stuff until then.
Yeah, they know some of the stuff, then they go put into books because
Yeah.
of Interstellar.
I was doing some research for a uni assignment again on Christopher Nolan, and I
We're
remember-
Christopher Nolan fans, if you couldn't tell.
yeah, there's a whole podcast is dedicated to the man, the myth, the legend.
I was still thinking about the
God.
title. Should we call it "We Nut on Nolan"?
That is great. Or just His Majesty, something simple, but we not
Sir
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Sir Christopher Nolan. The unknown knighthood. But I was googling like practical effect. I was doing. It must have been like a sort of like my hypothesis was on. My thesis was on Nolan's practical effects and like engagement relating that to practical effects.
Yeah.
And I was doing research for Interstellar, or I was using Interstellar, and I found papers that a university whose students had worked on the film had written about the calculations they had done to work out the black hole. I'm just like,
That's crazy.
What the hell?
one day, boys.
Like-
One day, boys and girls, one day. That could be us. That will be us.
There's like a gap between every generic film that's made, like, well, not generic, but every like kind of mid-tier film that's made, and then like true art, and like Nolan takes it a step above art just because of how much time is put into it. And I'm not saying that other films.
But he's also
don't
very
put in a
smart. He did a lot of
course,
English and
right?
literature
Yeah.
during his young life as well.
9
It's
years
just
since
like
they made his first
how the guy thinks, like just how he thinks, and like
I just want to know how he
gets
makes a
these
fucking
ideas.
idea.
I have
Does he
no
sit there
idea.
and go, oh, "Okay, I'm
I would
write this down"?
love to have
Does
a
he just
conversation
get
with him.
really
Can you imagine?
high?
Oh man.
Probably. He probably smokes a bit of weed and goes,
Yeah.
Tenet.
Back
I
with
got
E
no
and T.
idea.
For those of you who don't know, the E and the T are upside down and
Yeah.
in reverse.
For some reason, we don't know why.
Because the title is a melodrome. If you spell Tenet backwards, what does it spell?
Oh my goodness.
Time. Tenet, for those of you who don't
Mark,
read
you
or
need
write,
to put the hands in a wah on the
Wow. I got so many things on this actually.
and that would be installed in the Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many things I've written down to put into the Rodecaster Pro. What I can do on this program is actually, we're going to divert from Chris Nolan right now. I can put sound effects in here. For example, different drum kicks.
Yo, that's
Suspense.
pretty eerie.
And now we shall talk about Chris Nolan. Kind of thing, like a transition. If this conversation is really boring, I can just put in some chirps. It's really funny. And all this stuff. So this is just the what's it called the presets that are built into it, and then you can add your own into it. 8 times 8 of these. I can't math right now, but like you can put 8 of these in here, and I can switch between them. So right now I've got like. If anyone's seen Film Riot, this is Bammy Wham. And then my favorite.
That jazz.
Nothing better. And then.
That's a 10.
Have you seen that?
That's a 10.
And that's all I have at the moment. But like fucking. There's so many sound
so
effects I
cool.
put into
And
this.
for those of you that don't know, that came from the Rodecaster Pro.
The Rodecaster Pro. Shout out
Pro,
Rode.
yeah.
Rode, you are great.
Revolution the podcast industry since 2019. Or
Exactly.
2018? When did it come out?
I
2018?
don't know when it came out.
It's good.
But this is just
Not early
incredible.
enough.
This thing is.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Anyway,
Back to Nolan.
Back to Nolan.
Back to Nolan.
I don't know. What was it talking
Who
about?
wants to take this one? Someone hit us with.
I want to talk about Dark Knight, but like
Okay. Why not?
No, bring
Why
it
not?
up, bring it up.
We'll bring it up. We can talk spoilers.
Heath Ledger.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
This is a good one.
Do you think it's tricky? Me and my mate said on another podcast that Walking Phoenix would be a really good origin Joker.
Yeah.
But like people go, he's not going to be good as Heath Ledger and all this stuff kind of thing. Everyone always says that, but it depends on where you put the actor in the story, where you put the character in the story.
Yeah, of
Walking
course.
Phoenix could be a really good origin Joker. Heath Ledger did a fantastic job of being a mysterious Joker.
Okay.
you also
Here's
need the
thing.
writing as well.
And the
That's a
writing as well.
Here's the thing.
huge thing.
There's no doubt Heath Ledger's performance in the Joker is encapsulating.
Yeah.
But I think part of I'm not saying all of it or a little part, but part of the reason that his Joker is so iconic is because the way that film is structured is that it is structured so well for a Batman film that the Joker is like embodies everything that like kind of goes against Batman in a way, but it just resembles. If you look at it thematically and structurally, and then what part the Joker plays as a catalyst, and what his motives and like what his sort of characterization dictates, it fits so perfectly into that story that like
Exactly.
it is so well constructed that people are going to respond positively to it anyway. And because he's given such a good performance, double acclaim.
Yeah.
But you can't take away from his performance because his performance was great. The actor comes in,
Yeah.
Heath Ledger gave so much to that role and made that role what it is. But still, the way the role was made and for what it does in the film from like a David S. Goya standpoint,
Yeah.
a Jonathan Nolan standpoint, and a Chris Nolan standpoint, structurally it's beautiful.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
just no way to say it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, obviously.
The thing is, Christian, Oscar said to us, Christian,
Yeah.
the other day, he goes, like, Heath Ledger did the Joker, did the Dark Knight, that passed away.
Yeah.
Would his role as the Joker still be as powerful if he didn't die?
I think it still
for
would.
sure,
I think,
it would be. Yeah,
I think it would. It would be considered, yes, the best Joker performance and all the stuff, but I don't think it would get as much attention as it does now.
No, totally.
I think it would because he could still talk about it.
True, good point. He can still talk about it.
I think what with Heath Ledger's passing is it just makes it tragic.
Yeah.
And I think regardless,
For like, he peaked at not only his acting but also his life.
Yeah.
And then died.
yeah,
Yeah.
thing.
Like that
So,
was
like,
the start of
something
the
big.
next chapter.
He could have done so much after that.
You need to see the documentary. I'm Heath.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
It's a really good documentary. Kind of like
Those who
sums
don't
up a
know,
lot
Heath
of this.
Ledger trained in WA where
Yeah.
we're recording this
We
podcast
live
right
in
now.
Western Australia. We're proud
Has
to. He's
definitely made an impact on everyone
Oh,
here.
totally.
It's massive.
He went to
kind of
WAP,
thing.
didn't he?
Yeah, as a Whopper, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Hans Zimmer's live performance
I
here
did
at all?
not. I wanted to, though.
I went to it.
And it was
Incredible.
Mind
It
blowing,
was so good. But if you listen to his live performance in what's called I can't remember what the city was called, but the live performance on Spotify.
Yeah.
And exactly everything he played there is what he played at Perth, and he's going to be playing soon on the other side of Australia in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. But midway through it, he does
tickets, guys.
Sorry,
Get your tickets.
get your tickets, guys. If you're listening over east.
Or girls.
2019. What did he say? He did the Dark Knight soundtrack. He started with Why So Serious, and then like a dog chasing cars, and then the intro to what's called Dark Knight Rises, and that Desha, Bassa, Desha, Bassa. It's so cool. So he did those three. Then right after that, does a little transition, and then he gets into Aurora. And Aurora is the ending song of Dark Knight Rises.
I was just trying to think of the name of that. I was going to listen to it.
Yeah,
the other day.
it's called Rise, but it's originally called Aurora.
Yeah.
And Hans Zimmer made Aurora after the mass shooting in America in a cinema when Dark Knight Rises is being played.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So then like the journalist rings him up going, hey, like this happened. What do you say about it? And Hans Zimmer's like, this is terrible. I can't believe this happens. And Hans Zimmer goes, I don't want to talk about it with voice. I want to talk about it through music.
I
So he
have
uses
so much
people's.
respect for
He
that.
has so much. He puts a choir together that night and creates Aurora, which is the exact same song that he uses for the Dark Knight Rises at the end. That same melody and tone. And yeah, like as he's telling us this at the live performance, he talks about Heath Ledger. Kind of thing. So he goes like he leads into it. He goes like, I wanted to work with Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan said to work with James Newton Howard. We did Batman Begins. It was great. And then he starts telling me about the Joker and how this mysterious character would be so great and everything. And then he goes, who's going to play it? And Nolan goes, Heath Ledger. And the moment he said that in Perth, everyone just erupted in applause.
Yeah.
Because it was in Perth. And he even said, he goes, a student and actor from Perth named Heath Ledger, and everyone erupted in applause.
Wait. I'm sorry. I don't mean to take away. Christopher Nolan used the word Perth.
I'm Hans Zimmer, sorry. Like Hans Zimmer legit goes, an actor from Perth, Heath Ledger kind of thing. He even mentioned Perth. And just saying that alone would just erupted in applause. I got it on video. I can't find it at the moment.
Video. Oh, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
it was nuts. Oh, careful, you're stepping on the cord there. Like it was more powerful because Hans Zimmer's done this tour around the world.
Yeah.
And he came to the place. He does his speech every time he does the concert.
Yeah.
And he came to the one place, Perth, where Heath Ledger is from.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
1,000 times more powerful
That must
than
have-
anything.
Did you get like goosebumps?
I got
Like,
chills.
surely.
Yeah.
Although, like, that was chills, but then he finished his live performance with Interstellar.
Yeah.
He finished with Stay when it just erupts in this big encore, like big eruption.
Yeah.
And he finishes, he bows, everyone bows down, and they leave. And they were like, yeah. Nah, you can't finish with this. Like, I'm with my cousin Isaac. I'm like, you can't finish with this. And all he hears is, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, Inception. And he started with Dreamers Collapsing.
Yeah.
He had a guitarist on stage. He was
Nice.
sick. And then he did Mombasa. So it was just two drummers just fucking letting loose.
That's my favorite track from Inception.
And then like it gets quieter and quieter, and it just goes dun dun, and I was like, oh, he finished with time.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because he finished with time. Everyone's getting more erupting, and it quiets down, and then every single light around the room gets dimmer and dimmer, and it's just Hans Zimmer on himself on the piano, and then does a little the high pitch like squeal, and then it cuts out.
Yeah.
It does that, and he holds his hand up and clicks, and it cuts out.
That's so cool.
Kind of thing. Everyone erupts in applause.
That's awesome.
You can hear it live on Spotify. I can't remember what it's called, but everything that he played there, he played in Perth, and it was
Wow.
the most unreal experience.
That must
The
have
thing
been
was
so
that
cool to see
happened.
it.
That happened in year 12, and if that happened a
Yeah.
year later, you guys all could have came
Damn it,
and been
I
a
wish
part
I'd
of it.
seen it.
I mean, so cool.
It's so cool. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we spoke about it before off the podcast, but I'm fortunate enough to have the book, like The Art and Making of the Dark Knight Trilogy, which is a great read for anyone out there who wants to read it. But just the words that Nolan writes about the story he tells in the foreword and the afterword about, which, spoiler alert, is about Heath Ledger. I shed a tear. I cried the first time I read it. I was like, this is unreal for someone to have like such an impact on what they've done. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool. And just, Heath is a big part of it. Hans Zimmer, like everyone a part of it is incredible.
Now, this is a little bit, it's off topic, but still on the Nolan topic. The other day at uni, we were looking at like the anatomy of a scene and like what, like, can we think of any great scenes? And I was like, I had a few, and I put my hand up and I was like, any scene from The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, like any of those scenes are great scenes.
Yeah.
And then in particular, my lecturer took that and we looked at the Alfred scenes, because I was like, in particular, there's a few standout Alfred scenes. The first one being from The Dark Knight, which will be unfortunately a little bit of a spoiler for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Is about halfway through the movie, Bruce Wayne in their new underground Batcave. He asks Alfred, he's like, look, dude, like this guy's crazy. And Alfred tells him the story when Alfred was like a young adventurer.
That's another thing with Nolan's films. Everything he writes, he writes in a very monologue sort of thing. Like
especially for
Alfred tells a big monologue, and then you realize, oh, this leads into something symbolic.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's so cool.
And this one, he's like, Alfred's like a young kid in the forest, like young kid, like I assume it's like 20s, 30s in the forest, like on an expedition. And there's this group of thugs who take these sacred stones from like a camp in the Amazon or wherever they are. And the idea is that like these people just like took these things, and Alfred and his friends like had to try and find them. And towards the end of the film, when the Joker has really pushed Batman to the limits and like trying to make Batman break his like rule of not killing. He's like, how did you catch them? And Alfred's like, we burnt the whole forest down.
Yeah.
And he's like, some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
And that's like, it perfectly sums up what the Joker, the Joker's motivation is just like, he just doesn't really give a shit.
Did that quote come from that movie? Some men want to just want to watch.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, wow.
And the way Michael Caine says it just gives you chills.
Some
men just want to watch the world burn.
We get to Rises.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that he starts off when Bruce Wayne finally goes out there. Alfred tells a story of he's like, when you're in Batman Begins, the Batman Begins takes place over 7 years, and Bruce Wayne goes away for a number of those years, and Alfred tells a story about when Bruce was away and like missing for those years. He's like, every year I take a holiday to like France or Paris or wherever it is.
And he looks over to the table.
Yeah, he's like, I go to the same coffee shop on like every day at the same time.
Table.
And I just hope that I'd look across and I'd see you with like a wife, maybe a few kids, just there. Like I wouldn't say anything to you and you wouldn't say anything to me, but we just
give each other a
acknowledge
nod
that we're
of
both
just
okay.
reassurance.
And at the end of the film, at the end of the Dark Knight Rises, obviously Alfred leaves Batman. He's like, I can't watch you do this anymore. And so he leaves. And spoiler alert, the end of the Dark Knight Rises, Batman dies. You think he dies.
Quote unquote.
And quote unquote dies. And
Yeah, I thought that was like, I was like, holy.
what happens is that the film ends with all the other characters who have been introduced and have existed within the world are now
Telling you
taking
the
their new
conclusion.
place. Yeah. So like
tied up.
Commissioner Gordon finishes off.
Yeah.
You have
Catwoman.
Robin, Catwoman.
Yeah.
And you have Alfred, and it ends with Alfred.
Sitting down
The
at the
music
table.
riser. He sits down at the same cafe.
Have you heard Rises? Have you heard?
Yeah, I know.
You know the scene, like it's Aurora, the melody going,
I
and then
haven't heard
at the very last 20 seconds it goes do 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 do
Yeah.
do do with
Yeah,
the
it's
drums.
awesome. It
That
gives you
moment
every
it
time.
starts is when Alfred looks over at Bruce Wayne and goes,
Yeah,
nods.
so he looks across and he
So cool.
sees Bruce Wayne with Catwoman, and he's just like Bruce just like gives him a nod, and you think he's dead, and just gives him a nod,
And it cuts to-
and it cuts and it ends.
So you don't actually see him.
Well, you see,
you do see him.
Bruce, but
You
see him,
think
like,
he's
very
dead.
occasionally.
You think he's dead, and he
Like,
actually
for a moment.
survived.
And he's actually dead. And,
And
then it ends with Lucius Fox, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Fox, we have a report. He's like, can you run diagnostics?" Because he flies out over the ocean with a
Yeah.
nuclear bomb, and the bomb goes off. And early in the film, Lucius is like, "Oh yeah, but the only thing about this jet is that the autopilot doesn't work. It doesn't need my brain; it needs your brain." And he's like, "I don't have the time to fix it." And at the end of the film, it's like we have like a
note or something.
We have like what do you call it when you get paid something? An
Invoice?
There's like an invoice here for paid by Mr. Bruce Wayne about an autopilot function, and so this idea that like he fixed the autopilot.
He fixed the
function,
autopilot to get
but
out
it
of
ends
the
with Alfred like looking over at him. But also, the one thing that we
I've really
got
gotta watch this film.
was
Oh yeah.
when he dies, the speech that Alfred gives at his gravestone.
Yo.
He's like,
don't
"I
spoil the
failed you,
speech."
Mr. Wayne." He's like crying. Yo, I watched it like last year. I cried.
Yeah, it's
like
so
twice
good.
in that film.
That's
I
pretty
cried.
cool as well because those gravestones have a completely different name on it. It's all eroded and it's got they
Yeah,
put
it's
their
like
own names
Bruce
in there.
Wayne.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
another
I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, another thing that always got me in The Dark Knight Rises is when Batman's flying off with the bomb and Commissioner Gordon's like, "Oh, just like tell me who to thank, like who do the people need to thank?" He's like, "You don't need to be like a hero or whatever."
Yeah.
But sometimes it's as simple as like a man putting a coat around a small boy, and it cuts back
Yeah.
to the shot from Batman Begins. I just
Yeah.
got
Like
goosebumps
Bruce
every time.
Wayne's?
He's like, "Bruce Wayne?"
Yeah.
And he flies off. I was
It's
like,
so smart writing though.
oh
You
my
just don't
God.
go, "I am Bruce Wayne." He goes, "It's as simple as putting a coat around a boy." And he goes,
and then they
"Wait a
flash
minute."
back to it.
Yeah.
It's like, Bruce Wayne.
Whoa.
And then we spoke about then we spoke about how like Alexa and I we were talking about how Alfred is like the humanity, is the human of the story.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh man. Because Michael Caine says in the book, like it's like he had a career in acting, and then when his career was over, he did 10 years of working with Nolan and he produced his best work.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just like, what?
So good.
Unreal.
Oh, I gotta love Nolan. But what else? Like
We can go through so many other
the
films.
thing is, with me for the Dark Knight Rises personally, it's how do I say it? It's like Batman Begins is great.
Yeah.
Batman Dark Knight Rises is perfect. Then Dark Knight Rises is great still. It feels like a bit much though. It feels the film for me feels very bloated. It feels like there's a lot going on. It's still great, but not Nolan's best work, mainly because he's trying to wrap stuff up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it feels like there's a lot going on, and it doesn't benefit it, but because of the craft going on, it's still so great.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, Dark Knight Rises is the weakest one. Personally, I mean, I'll have to rewatch them carefully.
Yeah, I do.
But I think it goes Dark Knight Rises Begins.
Yeah, then
Like,
Batman
but
Begins is last.
obviously the vision that Nolan gave for Batman Begins and like the whole way that they shot it and brought
Yeah.
like the where they shot it in England, the studios, where how they like refurbished like the old airplane hangars. Like it gave so much life to the character. But then Nolan even explicitly states like the cinematography changed.
Yeah.
From then on, like Batman Begins is the last film to look like that type. Like you'll know it straight away. That sort of like orangey color.
Yeah,
that
very.
filmic look. You go to Dark Knight Rises and there's a turn.
There
It's
is,
like,
yeah.
We spoke about this. There's like another film as well. It was The Winter Soldier, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. That is the first film that takes a twist into what the Marvel universe becomes.
Yeah.
Like everything before that is like very visually coherent, and then you get to The Winter Soldier and
it
it
breaks
gets
it.
grounded in reality, but
Yeah.
looks way more cinematic. That's what The Dark Knight was compared to Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And that sums it up perfectly visually.
And then Dark Knight Rises took that same thing from the Dark Knight, but just
Yeah.
made it bigger.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, The Dark Knight's like got better reviews and everything, but you can't. Those films great.
Yeah, exactly. Like Batman Begins, it was an origin story, so it has its own structure.
Yeah.
Dark Knight,
Like just talk
it was
about the
very.
great moments in the
How
film.
had you watched Chris Stuckman at all on YouTube?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, he's my favorite film critic. He is.
Yeah,
He's very
okay.
good. But what he says, he goes, Batman Begins is the origin story, so the same sort of structure, the origin story,
Yeah.
yada yada yada. Dark Knight was a very psychological film when it comes to Joker and Batman.
Definitely.
And then Dark Knight Rises is a very physical film.
Yeah.
Because you got Bane beating the fuck out of Batman.
You can talk about you can analyze it so many different ways, but I personally, recently, I've only just now on the podcast realized I really like talking about the great moments of those films.
Exactly.
Like rather than comparing
You
them,
got
being
great
like, the Dark
moments.
Knight's better. Like I don't really care which one's better.
You got the
There's
interrogation
great
scene.
moments.
You got the
Yeah.
the ice fighting scene
Yeah, in
from
the first
from
film,
the first
that was
one.
actually one of the first things they shot.
Yeah.
And they
shot it all, and then it broke the next day.
They flew in, and they were like. They were told by the locals that they flew in on a Friday,
Yeah.
so Sunday was meant to be like a travel recovery day, and they were going to film Sunday. They go, guys, we don't think there's going to be we think there's going to be a lake on Monday. Like there'll be no ice.
Shit.
And they're like, no. And they're like, no, we're dead serious. So they went out on their like travel free day. Liam Neeson and Christian Bale, and they gunned it. They like guerrilla filmmaking. And Nolan's
Running gunned it.
Oh, I've been guerrilla filmmaking my whole life. So the start of Batman Begins was quite natural because we went out and we just shot it like super quickly.
Did they shoot it on IMAX?
That one,
Not
I
that
don't
time.
know.
I don't think
Not
they
that one,
did.
no.
Yeah.
And
IMAX.
there's, like,
He
2
didn't start
shots where they had
IMAX till
stunt
Dark
doubles.
Knight.
Okay.
Right, Dark Knight. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but and then sure enough, on Monday they gotten everything done. On Monday, no lake. Already a few days ahead of schedule, I assume.
Yeah.
Went on with other things.
Exactly. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, for sure.
How things work. No, yeah, like a lot of Nolan's films are based on, when you think back to them, great scenes.
Yeah.
So you've
Yeah.
got Memento is different because they're broken up.
I think Prestige is one where there's great scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very great scenes in that.
when they go and watch
I still think the ending of Memento is a really good scene, though.
That's a very good
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
'cause
recognize it, right?
it comes together.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the film, quote unquote. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean the actual ending, like the end, the ending.
The ending.
beginning.
The start. It's such a
start,
good scene.
yeah.
It's like you ask
It's
so
hard
many
to say.
questions. It's so well. Yeah.
I'm going to give everyone part of the Cinema1 channel right now a little hint. What I'm trying to do for my next assignment, I mentioned to you guys for my my next assignment for TAFE is I have to do a film essay, and I'm going to do it on a great scene kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like one great scene, and no one's done an essay on the docking scene from Interstellar.
Really?
So good. No, I
That's
looked
like
it up.
my
I said
favourite scene from that movie.
Interstellar docking scene essay. No one's done it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm like, I've got to do it.
It's such a good scene.
It's so good.
Will it
So-
go on Cinema1?
sorry?
Will it go up on the channel?
Well,
Yeah, guys,
yeah.
keep an eye out for that one. It'd be awesome.
Keep an eye out. Yeah.
Yeah, so the docking scene from Interstellar is one of the best scenes. It gives me goosebumps.
yeah.
And if you check out Hans Zimmer on Spotify and look up No Time for Caution, the Interstellar track. It's one of the best tracks ever made.
yeah.
It's so good.
That scene is just like
It gives me goosebumps.
85. No offense to any visual. Like, I'm a visual guy, but that scene is 85% soundtrack. Seriously,
It's so good.
It's so powerful.
Yeah. And what I'm doing now, I'm writing the script for what I was going to do it right now. I was going to break it up into cinematography, editing, and then music.
Yeah.
So I did
The music's
cinematography.
the biggest one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did cinematography. Hoyt Van Hoytema did this, and this.
Yeah.
Editing, Lee Smith did this,
Yeah.
and this. My favorite, the music, Hans
Yeah.
Zimmer did this, and this.
That's a good way. And I guess the direction as
Are
well.
we able to get clarification? Hoyt definitely did Interstellar.
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay,
know he
cool.
did, yeah. I'll double check that actually.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
think
sure
you
he
might be
did. It
right,
was his
but I'm
first one he worked with, and then
Yeah,
he did.
okay.
Then he did Dunkirk.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I remember from the water planet scene, like seeing the behind the scenes with
Yeah.
the shoulder rigged.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Interstellar. DOP.
Cinematographer.
DOP.
A DOP.
Yeah, Hoyt. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome,
cool.
awesome, cool. We got clarification for those who can't see.
Exactly. Check out the Cinema1 channel, and this will probably go up. Should go up as well as a video. So the video podcast.
Will this one be up before the podcast we did previously?
Shouldn't do because we
Okay.
did mention this one after,
We did,
during
yeah.
it kind of thing. I want to do it structurally.
Yeah, cool.
But I'll put them like a week apart.
Yeah, so
content.
if not, we did another podcast.
Yeah, we did a previous
Keep an eye
podcast.
out
It
for
was a
that one.
bit-
We did it before this one, but if this one comes out before,
We talked about their film, Christian and Jack's film Powerless, a short film they made last year that's going to get screened in December. And then this one is technically the sequel to the podcast, but hopefully this one goes out later.
You're confusing me, man. It's like Memento.
It's like Memento, we go back and
We
forth.
definitely took some ambiguous endings and
That's what
inspiration.
just reminded
for
me now.
Powerless, a short film.
It just clicked to me now. Really want to ask you here to talk about it, but we're talking about making films in the future. You guys want to make films. I want to make a film. Oscar wants to make films. We all want to work together as films. I went to a friend's house, Breaking Banter's house, actually, for the documentary, doing a location scout. I met their mate, Jonathan. He's mainly a writer-director, and he's learning a lot. His course at uni. And he was telling me an idea he had to create a collection of films. And I thought I would not steal the idea, but take that idea and apply it to ourselves. Do you guys listen to music, right?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
You know what an EP is?
Oh, yeah.
A small collection of films, like a small collection of music, 3, 4, or 5 songs.
What does
Yeah,
EP
yeah.
stand for? It's like
I don't know what it stands for.
I don't know.
I don't know what it stands for. If
I don't know.
anyone knows what it stands for, please let us know.
Please let us know in the comments.
Give us a comment. Yeah.
He was going to create an EP of films.
Extended preview,
okay.
I'm going to guess.
I think so, yeah. But I was like, what if we did that as 4 of us?
Yeah.
We each direct a film that we want or write it, whatever.
But like
and make a collection of it.
Series.
Yeah, make a collection of an EP of films, short films, no longer than 10 minutes maybe.
So I guess kind of like Black Mirror in a way.
I would like even
Sort
shorter,
of, yeah. Kind of thing. It'd be even cooler if we could join them all together.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
yeah,
really cool.
definitely.
Not like a sequel, but yes, like a sequel, but not like a sequel.
The
kind of.
characters
like
overlay
related.
somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have this one actor throughout the whole thing, and maybe he just
Yeah, we
goes
can-
through a whole thing.
We can talk about this. I got some.
Yeah, it's just I just had the idea of like making an EP
Yeah.
of an album of films.
Yeah.
And each one of us direct one each.
That'd be really cool.
Which would be a really interesting idea that I had.
Yeah, especially if they.
Thank you, Jonathan, if you're listening.
That'd be really cool if
If you're
could
this far
overlay
through, thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's just a cool idea I had. I really want Oscar to be on here, but hopefully listen to this. Shout out to Oscar. It's like anything else you want to talk about with Nolan?
For Nolan, Christian, surely there's a point of interest you want to talk about for Nolan.
Just Memento in general and how trippy it is.
So trippy. So I haven't seen Following.
I should say that.
What else is there? Prestige.
Doodlebug.
What's that?
Isn't it like
Has anyone seen Doodlebug?
No.
Doodlebug?
It's his short film that he did the year he graduated or year after he graduated. Same
Have
actor
you
as
seen it,
following.
Jack?
I have seen it, yeah. Funny
Is
story,
it-
I watched
yeah.
it and then later that day they showed it to us at uni. I was like,
Yeah, what
Oh
the
wow.
fuck?
it's on YouTube. It's got 1 million views on YouTube. You can watch it there.
Is it? What's it about again? Tell me.
It's like a guy. It's a 3-minute film.
Yeah.
A guy
I
in
know
his
it.
apartment is
Yeah.
trying to catch a fly.
Yeah.
He catches the fly, and it ends up being a miniature version of himself.
Yep. Oscar showed me this.
He
Yeah.
squishes himself, and then the guy that you're watching gets squished by a bigger version of him.
Yeah, so
Oh,
there's
wow.
this trippy thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Oscar showed me this. Oscar was like, he was doing some
really-
research and he goes, this is Christopher Nolan's film he made back in
Yeah.
high school or something. I was like,
Regardless,
what
one
the
of
fuck?
their best shorts.
It's so good. So weird, but so good. And it's
Yeah,
what Nolan
okay.
does. Makes some
It's
weird
like-
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green screen, but on film.
Yeah.
How do you green screen on a film? That is
That's what I'm weird. Like,
How do
You put the
slaps it.
I think.
he must like scale it down.
Guys, look, we're not fortunate enough. We never got the opportunity to shoot on film.
Yeah.
I think what you do is you take the film, you put it back into the camera, and you shoot over what you already have.
so like a double exposure kind of.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I could be 100% wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I assume.
Never shot on film in my life.
Yeah.
No, I never have either. It'd be pretty interesting,
Sorry,
but
no,
also
I
a bit
have- I
painful
have-
as well.
I have shot photography
Mm.
stills.
It's also really interesting as well. You got Hoyt
understand
Van,
what you're saying.
yeah. You've got also like Hoyt Van Hoytema who loves film, and Roger Deacon who fucking loves digital. Kind of
Yeah.
thing. There's a big clash between.
I
them.
respect that. I think that's a really good conversation,
Yeah.
conversation to have.
The director's roundtable as well.
I recently went through a bunch of like Q&A. Oh, okay, so a Q&A. I was watching Tarantino interviews for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and a video comes up which was Christopher Nolan interviews Quentin Tarantino, The Hateful Eight. It was put
I've
up by
seen
like
that. I've seen that.
BAFTA, or it was put up by someone.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like the Directors Guild of America, or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
it. I've seen
and
this,
I watched
actually.
it, and then I'm like, okay, let's look at Dunkirk Q&As. Because that way it's not interviews, but it's like him talking to a film,
Yeah.
to like big cinema goers. And so I found one when he went over to a festival, and like Nolan is super like collected in interviews. Like it's like there's a media Nolan, which is what everyone sees.
Yeah.
But there was this one. They were like, oh, what if people don't like your film's great? What if people don't understand your whole time jump narrative with like the three storylines intersecting? What would you do? He's like, well, fuck them.
Did Nolan say
Ever
that?
heard him swear? He's like, fuck.
Wow.
He's like,
Did he actually?
well, he said fuck it, and I
Wow.
laughed. I was like, that's so good.
Yeah.
And then
He's
gave
this
it-
cool,
and then-
calm, collective guy.
Yeah.
and then he
goes,
gave
oh, fuck
his
it.
immediate response. He's like, well, the intersecting storylines allow a different perspective so you can get to see every aspect of the war. But
Yeah.
his initial response was, now, what if an audience member struggles to comprehend it? He's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's so
it-
good.
Everyone was like,
it's
"Whoa!"
their fault. It's their fault kind of thing for
Yeah.
not understanding it.
Like, it's funny because people like regular cinema goers said to me when it came out, oh, it's a bit confusing, but you'll get it eventually. And straight away I'm like, bruh, it's Nolan.
yeah.
It's great. It's cool.
He knows what he's doing.
But like,
does.
I love his response. It was the first time, like,
Oh, fuck it.
because I had to do. I watched, probably over, definitely hours of Nolan interviews, and then
Yeah.
I got one where he breaks his like media persona.
Yeah.
I was like,
Have you?
this is an insight.
Have you seen the one with Edgar Wright and Nolan? On
No,
Baby Driver?
what?
Yeah, there's one on Edgar. Like Nolan interviews Edgar Wright.
That's
I think
sick.
I may have seen this.
Yeah,
I
on
don't
Baby
know.
Driver. I thought that was really interesting.
That's
think so.
awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
gonna
Maybe I've
check that out.
seen. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I think I've seen a part of it, maybe a thumbnail of it or something. But yeah, it's nuts. I love Edgar Wright as well. He just finished his film actually as well.
Oh, which one?
Last night in Soho, I think it's called.
Really?
It's a horror. It's a horror film actually.
really?
Where Edgar Wright has made a horror film.
Edgar Wright. Oh, I'm looking that up as well.
Yeah, he's got it on Instagram. He's got a whole
Technically,
Instagram.
Shaun of the Dead's a horror film.
Well, yeah, technically, but comedy horror. This is just horror at the moment. There's no
Pretty
comedy
interesting.
aspect to it. But he just finished filming it, and he's taken photos with his whole crew as well, like saying they just
awesome.
wrapped up. And he's got a whole Instagram account for last night in Soho, I think it's called. Anna Taylor-Joyce is in it, the girl from Split and The Witch. She's a lot of horror films.
Is she the young girl?
the young one, yeah.
the one that who was like almost like an intern on
Last House in Soho, yeah.
what was the latest film?
Yeah, look at this.
The three of them. No. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so that's
was
there.
What was that film that came out earlier this year? M. Night Shyamalan.
Glass.
Glass.
Yeah.
The young girl in Glass as well.
Yeah, her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently
Anna
she was, like-
Taylor-Joyce, I think her name is. I can't
Apparently
remember her name.
she got to like sit next to the director and like just soak it up. Like it was like film school for her.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
she took a behind the scenes role and would just like
Anna
watch.
Taylor-Joy, that's it.
That'd be such
Yeah.
a thing.
How good would
Sorry.
that be as well?
behind the
Yeah,
scenes?
her.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's in this. But yeah, like that's pretty cool. Like just
That's awesome.
like acting and then being with the director kind of thing. That's sick.
Yeah, and Spielberg's West Side Story. Anyone seen the photos for that?
Yeah.
Set photo? Or the,
Really?
Like the first, yeah.
Oh wow.
What's his name? I cannot believe I've forgotten his name. No, I haven't. Ansel Elgort.
Oh,
playing
yeah.
the lead.
Yeah.
Everyone else is a newcomer to the screen. They've done like Broadway and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow.
YouTube and stuff like that. But
in that instance, you kind of want Broadway actors, though, right?
yeah. That's gonna be huge. That
Yeah.
could be huge. Again, we're talking about like 2020, 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
Next year, West Side Story.
Big films
one.
coming out next
Yeah.
year.
Oh, that's right. Another one, 2021, Indiana Jones 5.
Wait, really?
That's gonna be really interesting.
That's
There's,
been-
there's
that's
big,
been
there's big
confirmed?
talk. There's been big talk about it. Like a female, then another one, but then Harrison Ford's back and all this stuff. But Harrison Ford has said in interviews
Yeah, I
that
saw
he
this.
doesn't want anyone else
Anyone
to
else
play
playing.
him. Yeah, to play Indiana Jones after him.
Yeah. I mean,
Which I mean, I respect
Fair
that. He's a
enough.
very stubborn guy.
he's a stubborn
definitely,
guy,
yeah.
but he is Indiana. Like
he is Indiana Jones.
I think
yeah.
he
Yeah.
prefers to play Indiana Jones over Han Solo.
That's
Oh,
insane.
definitely, yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't think he didn't
that's-
like Han Solo. He wanted to die in episode 2 or 3, and then he didn't, and then he died in episode 7. And like, all right,
I'm finally done.
That's
Oh, I
when
said it
that's
wrong,
when
sorry, yeah.
So good acting. I want to die in the first 2 films. Just kill my character off. I don't want him anymore.
yeah. No, yeah, it's interesting, but yeah.
Indiana Jones is some of my favorite. The Indiana Jones movies are some of my favorite.
Yeah,
movies. Like
they're just
they
great.
define-
for
They're
sure.
perfect for structure as well and
Oh, yeah.
pacing. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you put it
Right.
into a story
Right.
clock method.
But minus the fourth one. Yeah.
Did you know-
No one likes Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Raiders of the Lost Ark has 7 acts.
It does.
Really?
doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it has 7 acts. Now, did you want to
No,
save?
explain this to me. I want to.
Is
Well, I
like
mean, I read about it
the girl with the
briefly.
dragon tattoo, David Fincher's
Yeah.
one. That has 5 acts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I'm reading this book at the moment, and it's like 5 acts is like the best way to structure a story.
Yeah.
But like it gets condensed into 3, and it can, in some cases, like Raiders, can be elaborated into 7.
Yeah, okay.
But 5 is like the best way. It's just an elongated narrative.
Yeah.
Like if your film's like 2 hours, you're gonna go for like a 5 act. You're gonna opt for a 5 act structure. If you're independent, like 90 pages max, you're gonna go 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it just depends on how.
We're learning
what sort of, like,
mostly it's
obstacles you
3
have.
act structure from what we're learning at
Yeah.
TAFE and Uni. I
Yeah,
believe.
that's like the way to explain it, right?
Yeah, easiest
Yeah.
way, but then
So
of course
if
you
you
can
have the
break
money,
rules.
go
7 acts, because I've seen the film.
Well, I mean, you can piece it together. It's like instead of beginning, middle, end, or act 1, act 2, act 3, like different scenes when they're in the different spots. It's like 5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like 7. Sorry. Now, did you want to save this? We can go into other films for another podcast
I can do that
later.
Yeah, I'd rather
This
stick to
was,
this
like,
Nolan for this
specific.
one.
that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's guess we're doing a 3rd podcast now. Oh, well, this is great. It's great content. Love it. No, yeah. Anything else for Nolan while we're here? We talked about that. We'll probably maybe watch The Dark Knight tonight. Hopefully.
We'll see.
I just want to say thank you to Sir Christopher Nolan.
Thank you
Oh,
to
yeah.
Sir Christopher
man
Nolan for
inspired
inspiring Jack
many
for
minds.
getting through year 12, for me getting into films, and Chris for just existing.
Just a cool dude.
Just a cool dude. He's so
Cool
chill.
dude, yeah.
I'd love to work with him.
He would be nice to work with. I think no one has. Like, the best way to describe it is he's just a visionary director who is just really good.
I had a dream that I was like a runner on the first day of Runner. And then that took me under the wing. Yeah, it's just really, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank you, Christopher.
make a film in Australia. That'd be awesome.
That
And
would be
then
sick.
get crew.
Make an
from, like-
Outback film in
Oh, yeah.
Uluru. Please do.
There's great stories to tell in Australia.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Be sick. No, yeah, I think that's all pretty good now for Chris Nolan.
Yeah.
We love Chris Nolan. That's all we got to say. And guys, thank you for listening to the Cinema1 podcast. You can check this out on the Cinema1 channel. This will be uploaded as a video as well. Guys, thank you for listening. And thank you, Christian and Jack, for joining me
thank you.
a second time for this one. We will be back again
Surely.
for probably another podcast. Guys, thank you. Catch ya.
Thank
Bye.
you.